Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. In this episode, let's talk about the updated version of the Canyon Aeroad CF SL8 disc road bike. So this is the updated version of the Canyon's Aeroad for the 2022 season. Generally speaking, they have done few tweaks on the bike, but kind of the carbon fiber frame and the fork are generally the same as they did in the 2021 season. So, as I said, Canyon Aeroad CF SL8 disc. So let's first answer the question, who is this bike for? So you see, this is a typical example of an aerodynamically optimized bike, heavily aerodynamically optimized bike. So all the components from the frame, fork, wheels, seat post, handlebar, everything is heavily aerodynamically optimized, so you can go as fast as possible in a straight line. So keep in mind that this is not going to be the lightest bike or the stiffest bike. This is not the point. The point of this bike is the ultimate speed. And you can also see that the total weight of this bike, as claimed, is 7.82 kilograms. I'm guessing this is for the size medium, so definitely, much heavier than your classical climbing bike. But you will definitely achieve much higher top speed and average speed on this bike if you, of course, go on the straight line on the road. So we can kick off with the retail price of this bike. You see, the retail price is 3,800 British pounds, which is definitely not a cheap bike, but we will see when we dive into the specifications. I will give you my recommendation at the end. Should you just consider this bike or should you just go ahead and buy it? But keep in mind, 3,800 British pounds. Also, when it comes to choosing the paint scheme on this bike, luckily, Canyon is offering two paint schemes. One is this, in my opinion, a bit boring, grey and grey. Just a classical grey bike. I would skip this one and I would definitely go for the Team Replica, which is basically the Team Replica of Alpecin Phoenix. Beautiful blue and white paint scheme. I also think that this one is probably going to be the most popular paint scheme. Of course, now, because of all the manufacturing delays and bike delays, you will have to wait a few months for this bike to be available, but it's only a few months. As I see, for example, in the sizes medium or large, you can expect it already in July of this year, so it's a very, very good thing. So now we can dive into the specifications of this bike and really see what do you get for your hard-earned money. As always, we can kick off with the frame and the fork on this bike. So the frame is a carbon fiber frame, Canyon's Aeroad CF SL. So this CF SL is not creme de la creme, best of the best that Canyon can do. This is basically their lowest level of carbon fiber. Above that, there are still two more levels, but then it becomes very, very expensive. So this carbon fiber frame has 12mm through axles, both front and the back. It's going to be internal cable routing, flat mount disc brakes, and also it's going to be a press fit bottom bracket standard from Shimano. When it comes to the fork, carbon fiber fork, again heavily aerodynamically optimized, same like the frame, with the 12mm through axle at the front and also flat mount disc brakes. As I said here, this CF SL is the lowest level of carbon fiber frames, forks that Canyon can do, but make no mistake, it's going to be a very good carbon fiber frame in the fork. And also, Canyon gives you 6 years guarantee on their carbon fiber frames and the forks. So no complaints from me in this department of the frame and the fork. Now let's talk about the drivetrain on this bike. So front Mech, shifters and the rear Mech, everything is Shimano Ultegra R8000. So this is a mechanical group set, 11-speed group set from Shimano. Shimano's Ultegra mechanical is absolutely superb. I have no complaints about it. It's going to work perfectly fine. Probably, in my opinion, the best value for money when it comes to mechanical group sets. So when we look at the rear Mech on this bike, it's a short cage, so just keep in mind that this maximum cassette you can fit here is 1130 cassette. Just one little small thing to keep in mind. When it comes to the cassette, The one that is on this bike, it is a Shimano's Ultegra 1130 cassette, so they definitely didn't cut corners here. Crankset on the bike, again Shimano's Ultegra R8000, and this is 5236. So you see immediately how chain rings 5236 paired with the cassette 1130 is definitely designed to go as fast as possible in a straight line. Chain is again Shimano's Ultegra level chain or HG701 11-speed chain, superb chain. I would always advise you in the future, if you need to replace the chain, just keep it on the same level of Shimano Ultegra level chains. When it comes to the bottom bracket, as I said, this is a press fit BB86 standard, but they are using here Token Ninja Lite, which is so-called thread fit technology from Token Ninja. I'm not quite sure why they went with this Token Ninja Lite technology. They could have used something from the Shimano range, and for example, this would be my advice for you in the future. Once when you destroy this bottom bracket, buy yourself a classical Shimano's bottom bracket which satisfies the BB86 standard. Now let's talk about the braking system on the bike. So the brakes are Shimano's hydraulic disc brakes, Shimano Ultegra hydraulic disc brakes, front and back, and I have to mention that braking rotors here are the MT 800 braking rotors, so this should be 160mm both front and the back. Just please double check this with Canyon because they didn't specify it here in the components. And also these braking rotors are the ice Frieza technology, so superb braking performance and superb heat dissipation. Just a little interesting thing here, you see MT braking rotors, they come from the mountain bike world. Now let's talk about the wheel set on this bike, which is definitely one of the secret sauces of this bike. So here we are talking about the DT Swiss Arc 1600 D-cut wheel set. So this is DT Swiss Arc is their aerodynamically optimized aero wheel set. You know I'm a huge fan of DT Swiss, they do excellent wheels. And considering this wheel set, just briefly, the wheel set is tubeless ready. I'm guessing you will need to supply your own tubeless tape and the tubeless valve. This is a 62mm rim height with 20mm internal rim width. I'm not sure if Canyon here played the same game as before, that the front and the rear wheel are different rim depths. I don't think so. I think this should be 62mm both front and back rim depth. But just again, you can double check with Canyon. Briefly speaking about this DT Swiss Arc 1600 wheel set, if you go to the DT Swiss website and try to buy this wheel set, currently you can't. So I'm guessing that maybe DT Swiss is developing the newest version of this wheelset, but we can make some comparisons with the DT Swiss Arc 1400 D-cut wheelset. So the total weight of this wheelset, I would expect it to be closer to 1750 grams. It is, of course, a carbon fiber wheelset, which I forgot to mention, one of the secret sauces, definitely. And this wheelset comes with the DT Swiss 240 hubs. Excellent hubs, no complaints here, 12mm through axles, and of course with the famous DT Swiss Ratchet EXP36 system. Spokes are DT Swiss Aero spokes, and as I said, this wheelset is tubeless ready, but you will definitely need to supply your own, I'm guessing, tubeless tape and the tubeless valve. So definitely this carbon fiber wheelset, superb, absolutely one of the highlights of the bike. This wheelset, you see, is wrapped in Continental Grand Prix 5000 tires, excellent tire. The only thing is that here Canyon has used 25mm tires at the front and then 28mm tires at the back. I would personally, once when you destroy this front tire, just fit 28mm both front and the back, because I don't believe there is such a big difference in aerodynamics or speed when you have 25mm tire or 28mm tire, but if you have 28mm tire, you have so much more air volume and the ride is so much more smoother. Good thing is that they have used here Grand Prix 5000 tires, which have a 330 TPI, so very supple and smooth tires. Excellent choice. Now let's talk about the cockpit on this bike. When you look at the cockpit, it's a carbon fiber cockpit, Canyon CP30 Aero cockpit, but the problem is that this is a one-piece affair. So handlebar and the stem are one-piece carbon fiber, so it's a proprietary piece. If you need to replace it in the future, you gotta buy it from Canyon, and also if you wanna adjust your position on the bike, it's gonna be very tricky, because you can't fine-tune your position with this one-piece handlebar and the stem. It is what it is. So just please keep that in mind with this one-piece handlebar stem cockpits. I know they do it for the aerodynamic reasons, but you gotta be aware of it. Now let's talk about the saddle and the seat post. So the saddle is excellent Selle Italia Model X, no complaints here, and if you got your personal saddle you like, you just fit it on this bike. When it comes to the seat post, this is the new one, Canyon's SP0046 aerodynamically optimized seat post, and the interesting thing here is that Canyon had a lot of problems last year with their seat post, so now they've developed a new seat post where they say with much better, sleeve, which creates a better seal around the seat post and the seat tube, so better friction, and it will prevent the dirt from entering the frame. Well, let's see how that works. Previously they had some problems. I truly hope they have sorted it. But again, a carbon fiber seat post, very good for soaking up all the small road bumps. So you see, in a summary, when we look at the retail price of this bike of 3,800 British pounds, what would be my advice to you? Well, I would say like this. If you are in the market for a heavily aerodynamically optimized road bike, then definitely you should consider this Canyon Aeroad CF SL disc for the retail price of 3,800 British pounds. Some of the highlights for me on this bike are definitely this carbon fiber frame and the fork are going to be superb. They are already proven during many races on the World Tour. And also I would mention here this DT Swiss Arc 1600 carbon fiber wheel set, absolute highlight of the bike. So there you go. This is my opinion about the newly updated Canyon Aeroad CF SL disc for the 2022 season. I will just mention that if you like what I'm doing, please do subscribe, hit that little like button, and as always, I will see you soon in the next episode. Cheers!